and we're going to cut out this hole here using a technique or a tool called Boolean. It can be found under Mesh, Boolean. Alright, so let's go ahead and set that up. If we take a look at the number of edges we have going around here, it's essentially an opening or a space that is a cylinder with 8 sides on it. Let's go ahead and create that. I'm going to drop a cylinder into the scene. There it is. And I'm going to hit Control A to bring up the attribute editor, and under this polycylinder tab here, I'm going to take the subdivisions down to 8. Alright. I'm going to go back to my channel box. I'm going to hit E on the keyboard and rotate this forward. So let's just go ahead and type in a 90 there so it's nice and even. Alright, and I'm just going to hit W on the keyboard, grabbing this over here in our side view. I'm going to center this over the opening, hit R on the keyboard and scale this down. Right about there. And I need to scale it in this direction now, which is the y-axis, so that it's coming through on both sides here. We want to make sure that it's extending beyond the handle. Alright, so another thing I want to do is rotate this. I'm going to get these edges lined up as close as I can to my existing edges here. I'm going to turn on wireframe over shaded. So when I see this and I select it, I can see my edge right here on the handle. I'm going to hit E on the keyboard and I'm going to rotate this around. It's not going to line up perfectly. We're going to get it as close as possible. Right about there. Okay, I've also got this edge right here that's intersecting. You can see it right here. I'm going to select the vertices on that and move those up to here. Alright, I'm going to right click and go back to object mode on the handle. I'm going to select the handle first, shift select the cylinder, and come up under Mesh, Booleans, and I'm going to go with difference. Okay, so that's going to create a hole in here. Great, so what we need to do now, we've got these edges that are stopping right here, and we need to continue these edges around and connect them. And we're going to do that with the Multicut tool that can be found in the modeling toolkit. Right down here we've got the Multicut tool. I'm going to select that, and I can come over here and do this one by one on each side. Go back over here and do it on this side. We can speed things up though and select symmetry right here, and we want to select, in this case, Object X. And what this is going to do is, as we select over here on one side and connect it, and connect here, and then hit enter, it's going to draw the same edge over here on the opposite side. Okay, so I'm going to go from here down to this point, hit enter, see that it's done it over here, and from this point over here to this corner. Alright, so that leaves us with a couple of openings here, and this edge right here, I'm going to hit Q to end this. I'm going to actually grab this edge right here, and this one actually wraps underneath. It doesn't come to this corner. We certainly could do that. We could actually tie both of these into this corner here and connect them. That would be fine. It would create a triangle, which is okay. But let's go ahead and add an edge under here. I'm going to just delete these. It deleted both of them because we have symmetry on. And then I'm going to select the Insert Edge Loop and drop it in right about there. I'm also going to drop another one in back here. Okay, and from here we can shape it. So I'm going to pull this down here. Right mouse click and go to Vertex. Bring this up. Okay, and then dragging a marquee over here, I'm just going to create a little bit of a bend. And pull these up here. Right about there. Okay, let's go back to Object Mode, and I'm going to select the Multicut tool again, and now I'm going to go from this point down to our new edge that we dropped in. Same thing here. I'm going to connect these, and for this last one here, we're going to connect it down to this corner. Okay, I'm going to hit Q on the keyboard and get out of that, go back to Object Mode, and that looks pretty good. So this edge right here, I'm going to bevel it just to round it out a little bit. So I'm going to select Edge, double click on it. It's actually selecting the one on the other side as well. And it hasn't gone all the way around, so we actually have a little issue right here where our vertices did not connect. This is quite common when you're using a Boolean, that if your edges don't line up perfectly, you'll have an instance here where if I go to Vertex, you'll see that these two vertices are not connected. Let's go ahead and select both of those. And I could come up here on the shortcut and click this to merge vertices, and that works just fine. Let's go ahead and check it over here. So it merged that one as well. And we've got the vertices right up here that are also not merging. I'm dragging a marquee over those. I'm going to use the marking menu that is a little bit faster by holding down the Shift key, right mouse clicking, straight up to merge vertices, and then over to merge vertices right here. Okay, what this threshold is right here is the distance of these two vertices. So if these vertices were fairly wide or far apart, I would have to increase that threshold. Okay, they were pretty close together, so they were able to meet with just the 0.01 setting. I'm going to hit Q to end that process. And now when we come out to Edge, double click, we should see it going all the way around. Great. Let's go ahead over here to our modeling toolkit, and we're going to hit Bevel. And it's created one that's a little bit wide, so let's go ahead and lower the fraction down to about 0.2. Looks good. Alright, so that looks nice. I'm going to come out here and go back to Object Mode, and I'm just going to revisit some of the areas up here. I feel like this point right here, even though we're following along pretty closely with the drawing, I think this would look a little nicer if it came up higher. So I'm going to grab the vertices here, pull them up a little bit, and here too. Okay. And I'm going to do a little bit more shaping on the blade. I'm going to select the blade, go to Vertex. So we have our Object X symmetry on, so now I don't have to drag marquees. I can just select on it and then begin working with that. In this case, I'm just pushing these in. See here from the back, I'm just shaping this. Bring that one in a little bit more. Okay, and I feel like these points are sticking out just a little too far still. This is thinning them out a little. Same thing here. And right here. Okay. Rounding this out just a little bit right there, and I think these two vertices can also come out like that. Alright, I think that looks good. Okay, so we've completed the modeling. Let's come over here to our outliner, do a little cleanup. I'm going to double click on this. I'm going to call this blade. I'm going to double click on P-Cube 2 and change that to handle. Okay, and the cylinder is down here. You can see this turned pink, so we've got some history or a connection between these two. Let's go ahead and drag a marquee over everything in the scene. Click and drag down here, selecting all of these, and I'm going to come up under Edit, Delete by Type, History. Great, so you can see that cleaned the scene up there, and that cylinder is now gone. Okay. So we've got the blade. Let's go ahead and name this. P-Cube 3 is going to be our handle. Alright. And let's go ahead and save our scene. I'm going to do a save scene as. There's my version 1. I'm going to version up and call this 02. And continue. Alright. So that wraps it up for the modeling portion, and we'll come back in the next lesson and start working with materials.